My name is Amanda.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we are going over the best Disney Christmas movies. So these movies are all available to watch right now on Disney+. So Disney does have the holiday collection series that you can scroll through, and then they have a bunch of movies. So we were only doing 10 movies. There are like over 40 movies that are basically on Disney+ for Christmas, or like movies that they classify as Christmas movies. But I just picked out what I kind of considered were the top 10. There are definitely other movies that we definitely could have put in this list, but I was like, you know what, we're just going to do 10 because that's a lot easier. And it's hard too because we haven't seen all of the movies. So for instance, 2 of these movies I actually haven't seen, but I still thought they were probably some of the top movies to watch for Christmas.
Right.
So and also I would say too, this is coming out in November, and normally we would do this episode next week for the first week of December. However, this week that this podcast is coming out, Moana 2 is coming out. So we will see Moana 2 and do a movie review for Moana 2 next week. So we're just switching to 2 weeks here. Mm-hmm. But the 10 movies we are going to be reviewing are A Christmas Carol, the Jim Carrey version, Dashing Through the Snow, Godmothered, the Home Alone series, Jingle All the Way, Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 version, Noel, The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and the Santa Claus movie series. Those are our 10 movies that we're going to be ranking. So, all right, Mom, what did you put in your number 10?
Okay, number 10, obviously, we all know what I'm going to pick. Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. I would never watch it. I have no intention of ever watching it. That's my number 10.
Yeah, it's funny because that movie is, it's in the Halloween collection and the Christmas collection. But the funny thing about that movie, though, is overall is that it's like the 4th movie in the Christmas collection. So that's why it's like, well, I guess we can put it on this list, even though we've technically already ranked it. But it is funny. It is interesting that it's like, yeah, it can kind of cross over. I do consider that movie to be more of a Halloween movie overall because of when you're watching it, it is more Halloween.
But it does include Santa Claus, just like Die Hard is considered a Christmas movie because it takes place on Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I still say it. I do still think it is a Christmas movie. I'm not saying that's not a Christmas movie. I would just say I think it's more of a Halloween movie than a Christmas movie.
I always think of it as Halloween. Like when it's on there, Nightmare Before Christmas, I always think of it as a Halloween movie. Like I don't ever say, oh yeah, that's a Christmas movie.
And my number 10, I have Noel. So I will say I have not really seen Noel. Noel is a 2019 Christmas comedy starring Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. They are siblings Nick and Noel who are preparing for Christmas after the death of their father, the previous Santa. Nick is overly stressed about becoming the next Santa Claus, causing him to run off and having Noel go chase after him in the real world. Now, I have heard this is a great movie. I will say this ranking is really hard because all 10 movies are really good. So it is difficult to rank some of these movies. I've heard this is one of the best Christmas movies, if I'm being honest.
Really?
So putting in my number 10 feels a little bit awkward because I haven't actually seen it. And I've heard it's very good. And I think I would like the movie, even though it is in my number 10 technically. But there are other movies I have seen that I did really like. So that's just what put Noel as my 10. All right, so what's in your 9?
I put Noel for the same reason. I have not seen it. It looked, when I read up, on it and saw it and heard about it, it sounds like it's an interesting movie. And I'd like to see it. But because I didn't see it and I really can't judge, I put it down at 9.
I heard it's good. We'll probably try to watch it this year. All right, what's in my number 9? I have Dashing Through the Snow. So this is a 2023 Christmas fantasy comedy starring Lil Ray Howery and Chris Ludacris Bridges. As characters, Eddie Garrick and his daughter Charlotte encounter a strange man who claims to be the real Santa, and then the adventures that they ensue with him. So I will say this, even just reading the summary of this movie, it did sound really funny. And that's why I did, even though I haven't seen the movie, I did rank it higher than Noel because there were certain things that happened in this movie that I thought were funnier that happened in Noel. And I think it would be really funny to watch. So this is the newest movie on this list as well, coming out just one previous year ago. I'm sure there will be new Disney Christmas original movies that are coming out this year. Yeah, that we haven't seen yet and I don't know too much about. But yeah, Dashing Through the Snow. All right, what's in your number 8?
Godmothered.
Okay.
I know we saw that a while ago. It was cute. It was entertaining. Not one I would constantly say, oh, let's watch Godmothered. So I put it down at number 8.
Yeah, no, for sure. And my number 8, this is where I have Jingle All the Way. This is a 1996 American Christmas comedy starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Howard Langston, who desperately tries to find a Turbo Man action figure for his son for Christmas. I have seen this movie a really long time ago, and I did think it was really funny when I was watching the movie. I feel like this is like one of those like funny classic Christmas movies that a lot of people like, which is why it's hard to like rank it because there's just other Christmas movies I like better, even though I don't dislike this movie. I thought it was a great movie when I watched it. And I thought it was really funny, and the premise is really funny. And also came out the year I was born, which is really fun too. But I did think it's a great movie. I did think it was really funny, and I feel like the Turbo Man action figure is such an iconic Christmas character, because of this movie. That how can everyone knows who Turbo Man acts. All right, what's in your number 7?
Dashing Through the Snow, because like I said, I didn't see it either. But when I read it and saw what the actors and the different things that were going on, it looked like it was really interesting and sounds like a funny and entertaining movie to see. So
yeah, that definitely does.
Yeah, I really don't have much to say about it, only because of the fact that I have not seen it. Obviously, when we get up to the other ones, I know because I've seen.
Yeah. And my number 7, this is where I had put Godmothered. So again, we have seen Godmothered. I really liked Godmothered.
Yeah.
It is a 2020 fantasy comedy starring Gillian Bell, an aspiring fairy godmother who learns that the fairy godmother school is soon to close. So in a desperate attempt to prove that people still need fairy godmothers, she travels to the real world to help a girl in need. I really liked it. I thought it was really funny and like very whimsical in that sense.
Cute.
And it reminded me of Enchanted in the sense of like, what if a fairy godmother tried to help someone in like the real world and like what the real world actually is and what you actually need in the real world, you know? It's like, I think like she tries to help like who she thinks is a child who is now an adult. Right. And so it's like what you need as a child and what you need as an adult and how the things in your life affect you and everything. Right. And how, you know, even, you know, the fairy godmother herself, how she grows as a fairy godmother, you know, understanding the challenges, the unique challenges that people actually face. So I thought it was really good. It was really funny. I remember watching it too because it did come out in 2020. So it was a movie that was filmed pre-COVID but came out during COVID. Right. So it was very interesting to see a movie like during COVID when the theaters were still closed in 2020, of course. So I don't know if it was supposed to go to theaters or if it just went straight to streaming for whatever reason.
I wonder what it would have had. A lot of those movies back then, you never know what would have went.
Yeah, like what was going to happen or how successful they could have been when they came out during COVID. So, but okay, what is in your number 6?
Jingle All the Way.
Okay.
Because like I said, as you already explained it, as a parent, that movie is just hysterical. It's funny. Schwarzenegger is always funny. It's amazing because when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his action movies, you don't think of him as being a comedian and being funny. But some of his movies that he does that are like this are hysterical. They are funny to watch. He's very good at what he does.
It's also the fact too that the mom told him like weeks ago, like you need to go get this action figure for your son, and then of course he just
that's
didn't
what makes
do
it so desperate.
So
yes,
just like,
of course he waits till the last minute. But I got to say, Schwarzenegger was just perfect in that role.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie, and again, it's on Disney Plus, which I don't know if people realize that movie's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of Christmas movies out there. So of course, we're not talking about every Christmas movie right now. We're only talking about the ones that are available on Disney Plus. And so it's like interesting, and that's a movie that you like. That's just like, why is that one on Disney Plus? I have no idea. I guess it has to do with who produced the movie and how Disney gets certain streaming rights.
How it gets to the screen, right?
Right. In my number 6, this is where I have the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. We actually did see this one in theaters. This is a 2018 adventure fantasy film starring Mackenzie Foy, where a young girl, Clara, receives an egg-shaped music box from her father that her mother left her as a Christmas gift before she died earlier that year. Clara ends up stumbling into a magical world of 4 realms where she learns more about her mother's past and the inner strength that is within herself. I thought this was such a great movie. I really liked it. It didn't do that well in the box office, unfortunately. I think the struggle with this movie was that it came out as a Thanksgiving release when it should have been a Christmas release. Yeah. Because the whole movie takes place on Christmas Eve. And so I think the Thanksgiving release kind of like harmed it in that sense. But I thought it was a great movie. It was supposed to have a sequel and it never did get the sequel because it didn't do well enough, I think, at the first time.
I think maybe they did it at Thanksgiving time because they thought they were kicking off the Christmas season.
That's what I assumed too. I forget what else came out during that year, but I think Disney had another Christmas movie that came out that year as well. So they had to pick between the two, and then this one got the Thanksgiving release and the other one got the Christmas release. But I know, I think it was a bit of a struggle. But I do think the movie overall was really great. I thought it was really fun. I really liked the character Clara and like the adventure that she goes on. I thought all the characters were really fun in it. I really liked the idea of the 4 realms as well. It's like when you're in like this fantasy, you know, Christmas type of world. I thought it was really cool. I feel like it's very remnant of like the Chronicles of Narnia to that certain extent of like this fantasy world that you're sort of in, going on this crazy adventure. And I think it would have been really great if they did do a sequel to it. But again, I don't think they are, because now it's been, I don't know how many years. It's been over like 6
a while,
years.
yes.
So
you never know.
years.
Sometimes they pull things up out of the past.
Yeah, so not sure. I could see them maybe doing like another movie way in the future, like Clara's daughter or something like that. It's like it keeps like going down the line of like the daughters or something. Down. So I guess we'll see. But I really love this movie. I thought it was so great. And I have rewatched it to the point because that's how much I really liked it. So good movie, even though it's like number 6, which is weird. So
I'm telling you, because there's too many good movies.
I know. Okay, what's in your 5?
My 5 is Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, only because I don't like Jim Carrey. I'm not really a Jim Carrey fan. I just don't like.
I thought you would have
him.
ranked this version specifically lower because this is the Tim Burton version. So
yeah,
it's a little
that's why I
darker
said that's
than
why
the
it is
Christmas
ranked
carols.
there. I love the Christmas Carol story. I actually would rather have the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol in there.
So Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol and the Muppets Christmas Carol are also on Disney Plus as well. So there are multiple versions of a Christmas Carol. I did pick the Jim Carrey version because that is my personal favorite. So that's why I picked that one. Even though I know a lot of people really love the Muppets Christmas Carol. That is a beloved like Disney movie. But I am not a Muppets fan, unfortunately.
No, I'm not a Muppets
Sorry,
fan.
Everyone, I'm not a Muppets fan.
I'm not a Jim Carrey fan. But I did rank this a little higher because it is the Christmas Carol.
Overall,
if there was another Christmas Carol on here, I probably would have ranked this all the way down and put the other one on it. But because I love the story of the Christmas Carol, it's so iconic. It's so, it's just Christmas. Parts of that movie I'm not really crazy about, and I don't like Jim Carrey. So it's kind of in the middle because I didn't know where to stick it.
Yeah, but again, there are other versions of Christmas
Yes.
Carol on Disney Plus. I just picked this one. It was hard because again, I was like, "Are we going to do every single movie?" Then there's like 40
no, you
movies to
can't.
rank, and we're not doing that.
But if
so.
I really had my choice, it would say Mickey's Christmas Carol in there.
No, that's okay. So you're saying Mickey's
That's
Christmas
nostalgic.
Carol, so.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one too. We watched that one too recently.
Yes,
last
we always
year.
watch it every year. We kind of like put it on just in
Yeah.
the background, even if we're doing something, because it's just fun.
In my number 5, I had put The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is a stop-motion animated movie coming out in 1993, starring Danny Elfman, who is the singing voice, and Chris Sarandon, who is the speaking voice as Jack Skellington. We follow Jack, the Pumpkin King, as he falls into his depression about life and stumbles into Christmas Town, and he becomes obsessed with the idea of Christmas. But bringing Christmas into Halloween Town is not as easy as Jack thinks. Now, I do love this movie. I know we talked about this in the Halloween. So a few weeks ago, we did the Halloween rankings as well of the
Yes,
movies.
for the movies.
And so, of course, The Night Before Christmas was talked about in that episode as well. And I love this movie so much. It's one of my favorite movies. I've always really liked this movie. I was very young when I first saw it too, which is surprising because it is kind of a scary movie when you watch it. And I'm surprised I really liked it so much when I was a kid. But I do think it's really good. Even as a Christmas movie, I still think it's good. And that's why it's kind of ranked in the middle for me. Because it's like I would still watch it over other movies,
Right.
you know, overall. But I do normally would watch it probably more in October than in Christmas time.
Christmas.
But honestly, to me, this is like a year-round movie. Like I would just watch it whenever because I don't think it necessarily is a Christmas or a Halloween movie. It's more of just like a year-round movie to me. But I really like it.
That's
I
how
think
they
it's
treat
great.
it now too. Even at Disney, when you go, they have all the characters, they have all the stuff for it, they have everything all year round.
And I feel like the art of stop motion animation has kind of gone away a little bit. I mean, like within the last 10 years or so, there haven't been that many stop motion animated movies really. So it's kind of sad in a way. I know it takes many years for those movies to be created. So there could be ones in the works that we just don't know about, and just many delays in movies being made or anything like that. But I do like stop motion, and maybe another one will come along soon. All right, what's in your number 4?
My number 4 was the Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
Yeah.
For all the reasons you said, the storyline, the thing, the way it's done, but also the costumes. I thought that the
the
filming,
costumes
the
are really
colors, the scenery, the costumes. I just love watching that. I just love watching just those dresses and gowns and hair and how the guys are just the uniforms. That's the one thing that just caught me when we watched that Nutcracker. It was just, besides the storyline, it was just mesmerizing to watch all the costumes and the different things.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they did a great job on that movie. And again, it's like sad that it didn't do as well as I feel like it could have done.
Right.
And yeah, maybe one day it'll have a resurgence or something. You never, because sometimes these movies do get big resurgences years later or something.
Right.
I thought it was a great movie. I'm sad we'll never get a sequel. So, all right, in my number 4, this is where I have Miracle on 34th Street. So Disney Plus has the 1994 version. This version stars Richard Attenborough and Elizabeth Perkins as Dory Walker needs to quickly find a replacement for Santa Claus for the Thanksgiving Day parade, and then kind of what ensues afterwards in that Christmas season. This is obviously such a classic movie. I mean, like there's been multiple renditions of this movie, many like different type spin-offs of this movie, and I feel like it's such a classic Christmas movie for a lot of people in a general sense. And yes, the 1994 version is available for streaming on Disney Plus. So if this is your favorite version, I know there's like the 1930s version. I think there's even a more like newer version as well that people like to watch. But I think this is the one that I know a lot of people in my time I think prefer. Since the 90s, I feel like the 90s movies tend to be better than a lot of other movies. The 90s did well with movies, let's be real. 90s had a great,
yes, they did do
a great
very
decade
well.
of movies in the 90s, that's for sure.
They did. Yeah, you're right. That just happened to be a good time.
It was. So I have seen this version a few times. I did really like it. I have seen the 1930s version as well, and I think I did like the 90s version better than the 30s version.
I always have it on sometime during Christmas time when Amanda's here anyway, because like I said, any Miracle on 34th Street is one of my favorites. So.
I also like it too because I do love the Thanksgiving Day parade. It's one of my favorite things to watch.
Yes, we
in
watch it
the
together every year.
Yeah, I've always
Yes.
watched the Thanksgiving Day parade, so I love how it really starts off with that, especially in America. That's like for American, I would say culture, like Christmas starts on Thanksgiving for
It
the most
starts
part.
at the end of the Thanksgiving Day parade
Yeah,
when
whereas a lot
Santa
of other
Claus
cultures
comes
usually
down.
wait until December 1st. Like for Christmas, depending upon when Thanksgiving is, you could start a week earlier with Thanksgiving. So I really like that as well. And I like the whole overall storyline of it. Like I think it's very wholesome, It's very fun. Has that Christmas spirit, the Christmas magic in it. Right, Kitty? My cat's coming over to say hello. Right? She's been looking out the window all day. My little love. I wonder, you were my Miracle on 34th Street, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what's in your number 3?
Home Alone franchise.
Okay.
I think it's entertaining. It's funny. It's entertaining. The actors are a riot. I mean, just like you said, when you start looking at these movies and seeing where they are, where they live, how they do, what happens, the crowd, the things, the stuff, it's just entertaining, and it's always on, and it's always laughter. So I think that's why I rated it so high, is because when you think of Home Alone franchise,
Yeah, and
you
I
say,
think too that was movies that we watched a lot when me and Luke were kids, because my brother used to really
Yes.
love the Home Alone series,
Yes.
so we watched it a lot because he
Brings back a
loved
lot of
the
memories.
series. Yeah, he was obsessed with it. So All right, my number 3, this is where I have A Christmas Carol. Because again, so the Jim Carrey version is probably my favorite version. Again, Disney also has the Muppets version and the Mickey Mouse version as well. This is the animated movie of the classic Christmas Carol tale starring Jim Carrey that came out in 2009. And I do think it is really good. There are aspects that I don't love about it. I mean, like, I think there's so many versions of A Christmas Carol it's hard to pick one that's like, this is the best one. Because we all have different tastes and things. And for being honest, one of my favorite versions of the Christmas Carol is, I don't remember what channel it's on, but it's like A Carol Christmas with that blonde woman named Carol.
Oh, yes.
She's
what's
like
her
a
face?
TV
Yes.
actor.
The one from Beverly Hills 90210. Well, what's her name? Yes, where she's the producer and
Yeah,
she
she's
has
like
to
the producer.
learn.
She has like a TV show.
That's my
and
favorite
she's,
too.
She's really like obnoxious
Yes.
or whatever, and she goes on the whole story. I don't know why, but I love that version the best.
I do too.
That one is not on Disney Plus though.
No.
So I will say, A Christmas Carol. This is a movie I watch every year when I put my Christmas tree up and I decorate the tree. So yeah, but I do like A Christmas Carol, and I do watch it every year when I put up my own tree and decorate my own tree. And so for years, this is always the movie that I have, and I have my tree down to a pretty good science where the length of this movie is how long it takes me usually
to
decorate the tree, not to put the tree up and do the lights because that takes a lot longer, but to put the ornaments on the tree. This is the movie that I usually put the ornaments on the tree on. So this is why I had to rank it so highly, because I do actually watch it every year. So all right, what's in your number 2?
Mine was Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
Miracle on 34th Street, to me, like you said, is an iconic movie. I've seen the old one before they remade this one in 1994. I loved it. I just loved the storyline. I just loved the whole idea. I just loved everything about it. And when they did the new one, I actually liked the new one better than the old one. I think they did a great job on it. Just the whole storyline, the whole attitude of how she feels about Christmas and the little girl and what they do and how the little girl believes in Santa, how the lawyer. I just love everything they did.
Yeah, and like how she doesn't believe in Santa because like life has wronged her so many times.
Yes, and
it's
how
all about business
the
and
guy
whatever.
across the hall just happens to be the guy who tries to. It's just it just falls into place so well. And like you said, it does bring back a lot of great memories of the Thanksgiving parade and Santa Claus coming down at the end and being such an iconic thing that everybody looks for.
And imagine for you too nostalgic in the way that they live in that New York City apartment. So it's like that's like when you look at that apartment, that's a lot of those old classic New York City apartments from the 90s. That's what
and
they
when
look
I was
like.
growing up, that was the ideal for me. The ideal for me was you're going to grow up and you're going to get a New York City apartment like that, and you're going to live that lifestyle in New York City. It's just, and when I think of Christmas and I think of it, that's a movie that was always on. It's a classic. There are a couple of other classic movies that I watch, like White Christmas and those kind of movies, but that one is the classic Christmas movie that, so when they did, and I actually like the 1994 version. I love it. So that came in at number 2.
Yeah, no, again, that's why I ranked it pretty high too, because I also like it. And I think the actors in that movie did a great job as well. Like I think they all fit their characters
very
so
good.
well. So I really like that. All right, my number 2, this is where I have the Home Alone franchise. I love Home Alone so much. There are 6 movies total in the Home Alone franchise. The first 2 came out in 1990 and 1992. And then there's a new cast basically for each of the other movies that came out in 1998, 2002, 2012, and 2021. The first 2 movies star Macaulay Culkin. The next movie stars Alex Linz. The next one stars Mike Weinberg. The 5th one stars Christian Martin and Jodelle Ferland. And the 6th one stars Archie Yates. All the movies essentially follow a young boy or 2 young children who end up getting left behind or lost in some way, and they end up having to battle to protect their home against some kind of thievery. The first, 2nd, and 4th follow the McAllisters, whereas the 3rd, 5th, and 6th are all standalone films. So it is interesting that the 3rd one, that one follows a completely different storyline, and then the 4th one they went back to the McAllisters with like new actors, which I think is really interesting.
I don't even think I saw the last few. When I say the franchise, I like the first 2 the most.
I will say I've only seen the first 2. I've actually never seen any of the other 4
I've only seen
movies.
clips, like parts of the other ones.
Yeah, my brother has seen the other 4 ones, and he does like some of them. I think he said he did like the 3rd one a lot, actually. So, but again, I haven't seen that one. I know that the 3rd one's the one where he has like chicken pox, and that's why he's like, he doesn't get, like left behind or anything. He has
he's
to
just
stay at
sick.
home
Okay,
because
I don't think I saw that one.
he's sick.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas I forget exactly all the other plots now of the other ones because they all range pretty drastically of like what's going on and all the drama and everything.
Right.
When the one thing I don't like is in the 4th one from the McAllisters, the parents are separated and the dad has like a new hot young girlfriend.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, and they're like,
as I said, I only saw the first 2
thing.
and loved them. I have not seen the rest
And
of
the
them.
end of the movie, like he convinces his parents to maybe get back together a little bit, or like for his dad to call his mom. But I'm like, I'm sorry, in no world do I see the McAllister parents getting divorced. So it's like, that's just not part of my childhood.
Sometimes you never know.
I do really like the Home Alone franchise. It is one of at least the first 2
They
for
had to
sure.
figure out a new storyline. They had to bring some new people
The first 2 are definitely great. I really love the first 2 for sure. I have watched it. Like there was a while there where I did have cable and like Freeform had Home Alone on like 24/7. So I literally there was one Christmas season where I watched it multiple times, sometimes in a week, because it was just on Freeform. So I was just watching it a lot. And I will say too, there is that popular meme where people are saying, what did Kevin's dad do to be able to afford this like trip to Paris for 9 people? But you need to pay attention closely, because in that first scene, when Joe Pesci as the police officer comes to the house, he asks him like, what's going on here? And Kevin's dad, which I forget Kevin's dad's name right now, but Kevin's dad tells him that it's actually his brother who got a new job in Paris, and he's paying for everyone to fly out to Paris for Christmas because his kids are staying with them like for school reasons and everything. And again, if you listen close enough within that opening scene, some of the kids talk about going to meet their parents in Paris because they haven't seen their parents in a while because they're in Paris for work. So really, what does Kevin's brother do for work?
I know,
because in the second movie,
in
the second movie, that's the brownstone that Kevin goes to visit that's under renovations, and that's the one that he uses that like destroys the thieves, the bad guys, Joe Pesci.
Another very expensive piece of property.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what does this man do for work? Like, no one knows. It's like, I mean, like, obviously to say Kevin's dad, it has to be well off because that house is gigantic.
Right. Yes, he has to have his own money. Yes,
yeah,
that house is,
even back in the 90s, that's still
I think it's great how they figure
house.
out how they do leave him behind, because nobody would ever leave their child behind like that. Get on a plane and leave him behind, or do this or do that. But the way they come up with the ideas of how they left him behind, at least like I said, I saw the first two and I just thought they were great, but I didn't see the other ones. But when they do come up with of how they leave him behind is something that's very interesting. Because
I agree, yeah, because especially in the second one when they're in the airport, of how he gets left behind and everything and what happens there, I think that's really interesting, because that could potentially happen when you're in an airport and it's really crazy.
Really crazy.
And again, this was in 1992, so it was before the security.
Before all the security.
And TSA.
Yes.
So you could sort of just like walk up and kind of getting on a train and by
Yes.
accident get on the wrong flight or something like that. I feel like in present day people would be like, there's literally no way that could happen now in planes. But it is creative how they sort of figured that out, or it's believable enough for sure.
Believable enough. I don't think as a parent you would say to yourself, okay, as a good parent, let's put it that way, you would say to yourself, I would never leave my child home behind in a thing. They also, when you in the first one, when they're counting the heads, when she tells the daughter to go count the heads, and she counts the neighbor's head instead of his head, that I could see happening. As a parent, you say to yourself, once you're in they weren't in that car with them,
that's what I'm saying, there were
they had
two
two different
vans,
cars. So the problem is she left it to another kid to count the kids. So that's the problem, But with a family that big, I think that's what happens. The older ones have to start taking on roles where they're responsible for,
Again, Kevin was in the attic, so he's separate from everyone else when he went to sleep and everything.
Right, he didn't realize it. They all got up late. So I think it was really cool how they just tried to fit that in.
And what I think is also believable there too is that Catherine O'Hara's character said, she's like, I'm not leaving this airport until I'm on the way getting back to my son. It's like, I'm not giving up for any reason to be reunited with my child.
Right.
And it's like,
that was true for a parent. That's what I said. That's what I think. Once
no child would abandon, their child.
Right. Once she gets there, she doesn't go anywhere except to get herself home.
Now, the things that are not believable is how the police just didn't care. Literally, they called the police in Chicago, and it's just like, my son is home alone. Can you go check on him? They're like, I'm sure he's fine. This isn't anything to worry about. It's like, they did not try at all. Like, that police station put zero effort.
I would say, I can't see that happening in a very good neighborhood in Chicago.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
or like anything. Like, if you call the police and say, can you go check on my child who's home alone or something like that? It's like, I feel like they would take that much more seriously.
I think they really didn't depict the Chicago Police Department than what it really is. It looked more like a podunk sheriff's office.
I know. It's like they tried so minimally for this. And especially that they had the thieves, because you didn't know the two thieves because he kept, doing anything with the water. So they knew that there was a man robbing houses in the area. And yet the police were just like, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about.
But when you're watching a movie like that, you kind of just have to say, okay, it's a movie. Just enjoy it, laugh, and think it's hysterical, and just don't even delve into it.
I know. Because let's remember, he's supposed to be 8 years old, which is pretty young.
Yes, 8 years old.
But I do love Home Alone. It's my favorite series. I usually watch the first two, honestly, every year, because they always end up being on at something or having them on in the background. But that means both of us have our number one as the Santa Claus series. So the Santa Claus movies have 3 movies starring Tim Allen that came out in 1994, 2002, and 2006, with a TV series that came out in 2022 and 2023. So we follow Scott Calvin. Sorry, that car keeps going off. So we follow Scott Calvin, who accidentally becomes the next Santa Claus as he comes to terms with his new identity, learning how to balance family, work, and the Christmas spirit. So yeah, the Santa Claus movie franchise, I would say, is my overall favorite. I do love all of the movies. I would say the second movie is my favorite, the Santa Claus 2.
me too.
Yeah, so Santa Claus 2 has always been my favorite one. I would say that depiction of the North Pole is how I genuinely picture the North Pole, is because of this movie. Like, that's what
they went all out.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yes.
Like, fully is in the second movie's depiction.
I just thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I don't like the third movie as much. The Escape Clause
not as much.
With Jack Frost.
not a bad movie, but
Yeah.
yes, if I had to rank them, it would be the second, the first, and then the third.
Yeah, I would do the same. I would even put this TV series before the
Or the
third
third.
movie.
Yes, I think the TV series was great.
I know we were talking about this the other day that
we
I
haven't
don't think they're
heard.
doing a new season for the TV series this year. I haven't heard anything about it, which is really sad because I really liked those first two seasons.
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
Santa
funny.
Claus
It was
TV
entertaining.
series.
It was good storyline.
Yeah, it definitely was funny because I mean, like, you know, a lot of Tim Allen's movies tend to have comedy
Yes.
within it, but overall the movies are so great. And again, I think all the movies are great, but it is fun when you rewatch the first movie. I mean, like Charlie is such a little whiny kid. Now
I
isn't
know.
he? It's like-
When the first time you see it, you don't get it as much. Second time you see it, like, okay, this kid needs to be like, you know, like be quiet.
He's kind of whiny,
Yes.
but at the same time, though, he's whiny, but he's also right. Like,
Yes,
if it was,
he's not having a
It's
very
like
good Christmas.
He's right though. Like he's
Yeah.
saying, like my dad's Santa, and obviously no one believes him, but like he's actually right though.
Yes.
At least in his universe, he is.
Yes, in his
And that's
even when he's a whiny kid when he's first starting off at Christmas, because he's not having a very good Christmas.
Yeah,
I mean,
like his parents are divorced.
Yes.
His mom's dating someone new. His
yeah,
dad
his father's
hates
not
it.
really
It's
paying
like,
attention. It's
You know, they don't believe in Santa, but he really does on the
Yes.
inside. So he's having a rough childhood for
Yes,
sure.
he was having a rough time. So, like you say, he's a whiny kid, but he's in a bad situation. But yes,
But I think one of the funniest parts of the first film is when they end up at Denny's because he burns the Christmas and he takes Charlie there and they look around. It's a whole bunch of other single fathers with their kids at Denny's. And
looking
it's
sad.
Oh no. So,
I don't think it's that bad.
well, you never know. Maybe that movie came out in 1994.
Yeah.
Again, another 1994 movie, Miracle on 34th Street was also 1994.
Back in
what I'm saying.
1994.
Home Alone 2, 1990 and 1992. Again, all these great movies all came out in the 90s.
Right, back
Nightmare
in-
Before Christmas, 1993. I'm like scrolling back now to look at some of these movies.
Back there, you couldn't just call up Uber Eats and have the food delivered on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, like the early 2000s really had a big lull of movies because nothing really came out then. I guess we all just clung to the 90s for
The
so long.
90s for a while.
Or we had a lot of sequels at least because again,
Right.
Santa Claus came out. The second one came out in 2002 and then
Right.
2006. But I do love the Santa Claus franchise. It is my absolute favorite. I've watched it every year.
Oh.
You know, there's not a year, sometimes multiple times a year
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch the movies. And again, I normally will watch the first two. I don't usually watch the third one. I usually like
I don't
actively
rewatch the
skip
third one unless
third
it's on
one.
TV. Like if it happens to be on TV and it's on, and
Even
I
then,
just-
sometimes
yeah.
I don't want to watch it because I don't really like it. So I don't really like Jack Frost's character,
Yeah.
unfortunately. He's meant to be the villain, obviously. He's
Right.
the big bad, but I just don't like his character. So it is what it is. I do like the TV show, so sad to see that maybe they will not do a TV series. But all right, yeah, that's how we ranked the top 10 Disney Christmas movies currently available on Disney Plus right now. Again, it's funny when you think about it because, like we said too, there are so many classic Christmas movies, but not all of them are on Disney Plus. Some of them are on like Netflix or Hulu on other streaming services. So it kind of depends. I guess we could always maybe do Hulu because a lot of people have Disney Plus and Hulu as a package, but I don't know.
I don't
So,
have Hulu.
Yeah, my fiance has Hulu, so we have Hulu through him. But honestly, I don't really watch anything on Hulu if I think about it. I mainly watch things on.
Well, I did a free trial of Hulu once, like I think last year sometime or whatever, and then I found that after like the month or 3 months or whatever I had, I think I maybe watched two things. One of them only being Only Murders in the Building. I think that was the only thing I was watching on it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to pay every month just to watch one
Yeah,
show.
like the main streaming service I really utilize is Disney Plus, Netflix, and HBO Max are the three that I've really been using.
Yeah.
I do watch some things on Apple TV Plus, and some things I would say maybe on Paramount Plus because I watch Big Brother and that's on Paramount
I don't
Plus.
have all those. We just have Disney Plus
And then some things
Amazon
on
Prime.
Hulu, although Hulu is really hard to log into. Hulu sometimes. And then what's the other big ones? I guess Amazon Prime. I watch nothing on Amazon Prime.
There's a new mystery on Amazon Prime I want to watch.
Yeah,
so
no, I
like I
don't watch
said, I
anything on
watch
Amazon
Amazon Prime, but not much.
Although
You know what
I-
happens is that when we sit down to watch movies, like even on Disney Plus, you have so many good movies. But you sit down and you say, okay, what do you want to watch? And then we try to look for something new. And then we look at the new stuff and go, no, I don't think so. And then we end up going back to just finally start watching the old ones. Just like now they have me watching the Star Wars movies
yeah,
in
we've been slowly watching.
chronicle order.
We're watching them chronologically in universe. So we're
Okay.
we watched episode 1,
I'm on
2,
the
and
third.
3.
Well, I just finished the third.
Yeah, we watched the prequels. Now we're gonna go watch the original trilogy, so episode 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll watch the
Right,
sequels.
and the original trilogy, first movie, was the only one I've ever really
Yes,
sat
my mom's
through.
only seen
So-
episode 4, A New Hope, is what it's officially called now.
Yeah.
But when
So-
it came out, it was just called Star Wars.
Right.
So.
So like I said, sometimes you sit down and you say to yourself, what do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want to watch? And then we end up watching these movies because they're funny and they're entertaining and they're light, especially when you're home. If you go to a movie, if you go see a movie in a movie theater, you're going to a movie to see the movie. When you're home, it's like you want to relax. You just want to know that, it's on, you're relaxing. It's not anything special. You can get up, you can, go here, go there. I just like watching something that I'm familiar with sometimes at home. So some of these movies, like I
especially
said,
for
we
Christmas
just put them on.
movies. Yeah, they're like comfort movies,
Yes.
so things that you're familiar with. But I absolutely love Christmas Christmas. Christmas time is my favorite time of the year, so I love Christmas movies in general. I will say, I think one of my, in general of all Christmas movies, the Santa Claus movies are my actual favorite Christmas movies out of all the Christmas movies. But I do think Elf probably is
Elf.
my number 2. I really do love Elf. So I don't know what about it, but something about Elf is just so great. And then I would say maybe Home Alone could actually be number 3.
My all-time Christmas movie is White Christmas.
Yeah, White Christmas. White Christmas is one of my favorites too.
White Christmas.
There's something about Elf that I just love. So
Okay.
I really love Elf.
Elf is funny. It's very entertaining, I have to admit.
There's
Yes.
just something about Elf that I love.
Yes, but White Christmas is my absolute favorite Christmas movie.
No, for sure. I think White Christmas is on Netflix. So we'd have to check that. I don't know what's on it. This is normally where we would transition into some Disney news, but we are actually pre-recording this podcast over a month in advance right now, which is wild. So the day of us recording this is actually October 13th.
Amanda's very busy.
This episode comes out, Mom, on November 25th. Like, that is how far in advance we're pre-recording this episode. So no Disney news, but we'll do some Disney birthdays. First up on November 27th is Kronk. So happy birthday to Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. And then in our real lives on November 28th, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is technically our Thanksgiving episode. Yeah, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone, on November 28th for Thanksgiving. Then on November 30th is my friend Mia's birthday. So happy birthday also to Mia as well. And then on December 1st on Sunday is my cousin Lisa's birthday. So happy birthday also to Lisa. So all right, and that leaves us with our Disney memories. So do you have any Disney memories for today's podcast?
It's funny because talking about Miracle on 34th Street and White Christmas and everything just brings back miracles of my childhood.
Yeah.
My childhood of sitting in I can actually picture my mother's living room watching Miracle on 34th Street on the TV. Obviously, it was on black and white. And it just brought back memories of my childhood. And I think that's why I like White Christmas. And I think I like Miracle on 34th Street because it does bring me back to my comfort and my childhood memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I have a lot of memories of watching Christmas movies when I was a kid. It's funny because I think one of my memories is that we have all these movies on DVD, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like before streaming services, you just have to buy the physical copy of the movie and then you can watch it as many times as you want.
Right. Right.
But now it's so hard because with streaming
services. Well, back when I was a kid, there wasn't even DVDs. You had to wait for it to come on at Christmas time.
Yeah, I know, right? And then you have to wait to check the programming to see. You had to make sure you say that you don't miss it, and then watch the commercials. People these days don't always know about what commercials are, depending upon what level of streaming services you have.
Yes.
But yeah, or like pausing. Like I remember someone was saying, "It's like, well, can't you just pause it?" I'm like, you can't pause live TV. I was like, well, now I guess you can pause live TV.
Yeah, you can.
When I was a kid, you couldn't pause live TV.
That's what I mean. Every one of our generations has different memories.
And that's one of my favorite things about some of the classic, like made for TV movies, is that they built in where the commercial breaks are going to be, and you can feel it in like the movie where it's like, this is supposed to be a commercial break, and now obviously there's no commercial break.
Right.
So I remember I love watching movies now where like that clearly was supposed to be a commercial break, but there is no more. So it's just like, this is so funny.
You have memories of the old way the TV was done.
Yeah, no, I do. So it's like I'm not that young, so I still have memories of the 90s and watching things in the 90s with the little VCR tapes and, you know, rewind, be kind and everything. So all right, thanks everyone so much for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure you let us know on our social medias, how would you rank these 10 movies on Disney Plus? Which other movies on Disney Plus are your favorite that we didn't talk about? Because we didn't even talk about Snow Buddies, and we didn't talk about again the Muppets, and we didn't talk about, there are a lot of movies that are on Disney Plus right now, or like Guardians of the Galaxy has like a whole thing.
What about the Winnie the Pooh ones?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh didn't come up when I was scrolling through here. And I'm scrolling through right now.
They have one about gifts, I remember.
Disney Christmas again,
gifts.
The Naughty Nine, like their Twas the Night, The Ultimate Christmas Present, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, Babes in Toyland, One Magic Christmas, like Weekend Family Christmas Special, Wrapped Up in Christmas, The Christmas Consultant. Oh, While You Were Sleeping is actually on Disney Plus.
That's one of my favorite movies.
While You Were Sleeping is on Disney Plus.
Oh, you got to watch that one.
I thought about putting that one in this list, but then it didn't make it. But yeah, While You Were Sleeping is on Disney Plus. That would make
up in my top 3.
Oh, Miracle on 34th Street, the 1930 version is on Disney Plus. Sorry about that. So yeah, so you can watch both Miracle on 34th Streets on Disney Plus. So I didn't realize, I guess I didn't see that before when I was on here. But yeah, so many movies on Disney Plus. And then of course you also have about Ice Age is on Disney Plus. I didn't know that. Ice Age is owned by DreamWorks. How did that end up on Disney Plus? It's not really sure. But anyway, thanks so much for listening. Happy Thanksgiving, and soon to be Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I'm excited. All right, we'll see you guys.